Well, the Senate race in Arizona has also yet to be decided, although Democratic Congresswoman Kyrsten Sinema has taken a slight lead over her Republican opponent, Congresswoman Martha McSally. Joining me now to break down this race, Jim Nintzel. He's the executive editor of the Tucson Weekly. So, Jim, why is it taking Arizona so long to declare a winner in this race?
We have a very liberal early ballot vote by mail system. And what happens is people get about 70% of people vote by mail here. But a lot of those people get those ballots and they don't send them in until the last minute, or they even drop them off at polling places. And once those ballots are dropped off, the elections officials have to check every signature on those ballots and make sure that they are good ballots, that they've been cast by the person who they came from. So that verification process takes a long time. There are hundreds of thousands of ballots that have to go through that, primarily in Maricopa and Pima County, our two most populous counties. And that process is underway. And then after that happens, they have to go through the machine. So we got a big additional collection of ballots yesterday, and we're waiting. We're expecting another big drop again at 5 o'clock on this afternoon, which will spoil the happy hour of journalists across the state.
You know, Jim, why is it we're hearing now that Kyrsten Sinema's lead is now nearing 10,000 votes? Do you get the sense, you're telling us a little bit more about how these new votes are coming in, do you get the sense that Sinema might be pulling away in this race?
Well, that's what we're going to find out at 5 o'clock today. But from what I hear, about 80% of the ballots that have yet to be counted are in counties that have favored Kyrsten Sinema. She did remarkably well in Pima and Maricopa counties. Martha McSally, the Republican, ran up the score in the outlying counties, the more rural counties. And that's not where a lot of these early ballots are. So I would say at this point, the advantage is Sinema's. But, you know, Martha McSally has been here before. We had to count ballots for about 2 weeks in her first congressional race. She ended up losing that one. And then we had to count them again in her second congressional race for a couple of weeks. And she won that one by a mere 167 votes. Kyrsten Sinema had to wait a few days in her first congressional race. So this is not unusual for Martha McSally, at least. She likes to drive these things into overtime.
Interesting tidbit there. So a judge says that he will hear a lawsuit from several local Arizona Republican parties. It's trying to limit the mail-in votes that are still out there. What kind of impact could that have in this race?
Well, yeah, as we know, every vote's going to count in this race. From what I understand, the Republican Party initially wanted to stop county recorders from being able to verify some of these early ballots if they came in on Election Day. But they have since reversed course, and they have said that now they want all county recorders across the state to do that verification process. In some counties, if your signature doesn't match up and you turned in your ballot on Election Day, they just throw the ballot out. In others, they actually reach out to voters and try to contact them. The Republican Party now wants to see that happen across the board rather than stopping the voting in certain counties.
We'll be watching Arizona. A lot happening today. Jim Nintzel, thank you so much for joining us.
A pleasure.